So the other island is Sulawesi, and I don't know, I think English it's technically Celebes or something like that, but it's almost directly south of the Philippines. And so I was up there in a city called Manado, and the interesting thing about Manado is it was founded by the Dutch. And so, because the Dutch had colonized Indonesia, but Manado especially because it was a good trading post and a good way station for them. And so what they decided to do is they decided to indoctrinate all the native people of Manado with Christianity. So to this day, it's still a good 80% Christian. So it was a total flip from Java, which is 80 to 90% Muslim. So it was a totally different social atmosphere. The people there are, I wouldn't say worldly, but they try to westernize themselves. So if there's something, movies, for example, they just absolutely love movies and stuff like that. Fashion tends to leak over into Manado. So whereas in Java you see mostly women wearing the traditional Muslim headgear, the jilbab, Manado is a totally strange foreign thing to me to see women not wearing it. And so it's got its own foods, totally different than Javanese foods. So Javanese foods, they eat a lot of what's called tempeh, which is a soybean that has been, I think it's fermented, and they put it together in kind of a block, and then they chop it up and they fry it. Or they eat a lot of tofu and they fry that tofu, and that's what they usually eat in Java. But in Manado, it's almost all fish. So everything has fish, and they have all of Indonesia has what's called sambal, which is basically crushed peppers, garlic, and onions all mixed together. Whereas Manado has sambal, but it also has this stuff called dabu-dabu, which is kind of like pico de gallo. So I just love the flavor, and it's, you grab a spoonful of that and you put it all over your rice, and that's what you eat with the fish. So there is a pretty prominent university, Samratulangi, which was named after the first doctor, one of the first doctors of Indonesia. So that was interesting. But Manado is, I think it's 30 kilometers away from the forest that has the smallest monkeys in the world. And so they're the ones that you see holding on to the tree with the really, really big eyes. And so that was interesting. I never got to go because it was a little out of our reach, but we always heard that was a cool thing. They have a bunch of waterfalls, and especially Manado, there's this place off the coast called Bunaken, and they call it the world's aquarium because of its huge diversity of fish and marine life. So we would see often a lot of tourists up there in Manado, more so than in the other parts of the island. It may have been the time of year, but Manado just always has tourists because they want to see the beach there. They want to see the scuba diving, the snorkeling. It was a great tourist destination. We got to talk to a lot of interesting people.